everybody. So today we are going to be drawing some Pinterest girls because I wanted to. I don't know. I just wanted to practice drawing people in poses that had a little bit more perspective and that were just a little bit more interesting than just standing there. Because I guess my default, the thing that I always draw is just a person standing there. And it's not that I can't draw people in other poses. Like, I think I can, but I just never do. And I can't think of an idea of what the person should be doing, if that makes sense. Like, the only thing I can think of is just a person standing there, and that's it. That's the only thing that comes to mind when I'm like trying to draw a person from my head. And so I guess what I was trying to do here was draw people in different poses so that I could kind of expand my visual library, if you will, right? I guess that's what everybody says. To me, it was just like, let's have fun drawing Pinterest girls, but I guess it served a purpose too, right? I was learning. I don't know. I was practicing different things that I don't normally draw. And hopefully that will help me next time I'm stuck. It'll help me to come up with something more interesting and something a little bit more dynamic. Oh, look at me using all the fancy words. But yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else feel like this? Like, you can draw. Like, you could draw something, but you just can't think of it. You can't think of something to draw, or you can't come up with the idea on your own. I don't know. I feel like I have the skill of drawing, but I don't have the creativity of an artist, or the creativity that an artist should have. Hopefully this helps. Everybody always talks about the visual library and expanding the visual library. I don't know. But yeah, I think when it comes to like the creativity of an artist, I definitely don't have that. I was not gifted with that. Like, I see people all the time coming up with like their own original characters, and it's so cool. And I like, people come up with so many original characters, and like, they're so nice and interesting, and then I try, and it's just like a boring character, or I can't come up with a story at all. Like, I'll draw random characters, like random girls in an illustration, or a random guy, but I think I've only ever done an original character like twice or 3 times. Like, it's just, I coming up with a story is too hard for me, and I see other artists doing it, and it looks so fun, but I'm like, how do you do that? I cannot do it. Maybe some point, maybe later on, I'll be able to. I don't really know how I'm going to improve this creativity issue, but I mean, does the same rule apply? Like, maybe, you know how they say, like, if you draw people in different poses, you'll expand your library. So do I just have to expose myself to different types of stories? But then, like, what's the next step? I don't know, like expanding my idea bank. But I don't know, I mean, if the whole point is that I don't have enough like different ideas coming in, I feel like I do. I mean, I watch plenty of anime and K-dramas. I definitely, idea bank is there. I just don't know how to apply it to a character. Like, I don't know how to come up with a concept. Do you come up with a concept when you make a character? Like, how do you start drawing a character? Or how do you make a character? I don't, maybe I should try making characters next time. That sounds like a challenge, since it's so hard for me. Anyway, I should probably talk about the drawing. I was planning on drawing 3 girls, but the third one ended up being just ahead because I kind of was getting bored, and I figured 2 poses that were out of my comfort zone was enough. But yeah, for the first 2 girls, I feel like it wasn't frustrating, but it was like a good challenge. Like, I could definitely tell that these were things that I don't draw often and that were like a little bit out of my comfort zone. And they were definitely like, I was having to think a lot more about like, where do I put this? How do I draw this? Like, especially with like the hands and the fingers, and the perspective, which is the whole point. So I guess I must have learned something, right? But yeah, I don't know. I really actually had a lot of fun with this. I find that a lot of times I will, how do I say this? Like, I don't know, if a drawing is too easy or too simple, it's almost a little bit boring. I liked having a challenge. And I don't always want a challenge. Clearly, that's why the third face was just a face and not a whole body like it was supposed to be originally. But, you know, whatever. Anyway, for the first girl, I ended up struggling mostly with the glasses being in perspective. I didn't think I would struggle that much with them. And I think in the end, they turned out all right. But they were definitely not the easiest, you know. I also feel like the perspective and the pose could have been a little bit more exaggerated if I knew what I was doing a little bit better. I feel like that's where like me not being good at, or that's where you can see that my anatomy and my knowledge of anatomy is kind of lacking a little bit. Because I can't exaggerate the pose because then it starts to look a little wonky. And then the second girl had the same sort of problem. Not a problem, but it was like the same thing. Again, I feel like I could have exaggerated the pose a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe if I'd done that, it would have been more interesting. It did turn out nice though, like for it being something that I don't draw. I really liked the second girl. I liked the way, like, you could tell that she's like leaning forward a little bit. You know, it was nice. I did cut out some of the sketching portions, like the very first sketches, and just go in with like my second sketch, and I showed that part because the original sketches in a lot of these were quite messy, and it was just like a lot. I also feel like I ended up, when I was trying to cut out the messy parts, I cut out when I drew the face for the second girl, which I feel like it's the most interesting part. I shouldn't have done that. I don't know what happened, but I definitely, next time I want to focus more on the faces, because I feel like when you're watching, that's the most interesting part of it. Anyway, here you can see that I was starting to color in the characters, and let's be honest, coloring is another thing I want to work on, but isn't that just the life of an artist? I feel like I'm just constantly being like, oh, I gotta learn more about that, and I gotta learn more about that, and I gotta learn more about that, and like there's just this like never-ending list of things that I want to get better at, and like things that I want to practice and learn how to do better. And I definitely think color is one of them. Like, I was looking at this picture that I drew a while ago of Aang, and it's such a like cute drawing. Well, it's not a picture, it's a drawing, it's an illustration. But yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, something is missing. And after just looking at it for a while, I realized that all of the colors were just basic. Like, I drew him in front of a sunset type sky, like a pink sky. There should be pink all over him, and there was none. Like, the yellow parts of his outfit were just yellow, and like all the colors were just so basic, and it doesn't look bad. But I think if I started being more, I don't know, if I started having more fun with color, I don't know if that exactly would be fun. I feel like it would be kind of painful when I started, you know, it like, I wouldn't be good at it, and it's like, most things are not fun if we're not good at them, let's be honest. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, it like, the colors were not, it wasn't great. I mean, it like, they weren't bad, but they weren't exciting, they weren't fun. So yeah, I want to get better at coloring. Anyway, I digress. I mean, the whole point of that was to say that when I started coloring these, I started following like what the colors in the pictures were, but then I realized that because the three girls that I was drawing were next to each other, their colors kind of sort of had to match each other, otherwise they were gonna look kind of odd. And I felt like it was already happening, like when I colored the head and when I colored the second girl, like the colors were just so different, and it like wasn't like, they didn't look like part of the same image at all. So when I went to color the third girl, I tried to pull in colors from both the first and the second girl to, like, you know, make it a little bit more unified. That also ended up making me pick colors that I maybe wouldn't have picked otherwise. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I did anything revolutionary. Don't get me wrong here. Everything is just, you know, normal, basic. But, like, it made me think a little bit more about color, because I was like, oh yeah, I have to draw 3 of them, and they have to look like they're part of the same, you know, set of illustrations. And if I just, like, go into autopilot and choose the colors that I see, then, you know, it's not gonna be cohesive. It's not all gonna match. And then I went ahead and added a green background. I don't know if this was the choice. Does it look too much like Christmas? I don't know. That is the question. Now that I'm looking at it. Anyway, I hope you all had fun watching this. These were really fun to draw, actually. It was just, like, nice. I don't know. But also it felt like practice, you know? So it was great. Anyway, see you all next time. Bye.